Hello, this is your InfoRights channel. We continue our discussions about social security systems and the coordination thereof. In the last episode, I forgot to tell you about the very basic principle of the coordination of social security system, and this is really the core. It all starts there. It's the principle of single legislation applicable. So whenever a person is crossing a border for work reasons, either to look for a job, to get a job in another country, or being posted, or she or he is crossing the borders because the job requires her to do so, every time we need to apply only one legislation at a time. This principle of single legislation is very important because it prevents the person from losing the entitlement to social security benefits just because they cross the border. Second, it prevents a person from being charged with social security contribution to two different systems. So, on one hand, we don't have double social security contributions, but on the other hand, this person cannot claim benefits from both systems. So it prevents also from claiming two social security allowances. But the most important part is that you do not drop out of social security system. So at any given moment, you are subject to some social security legislation. That's the beauty of mobility. Well, imagine what would be freedom to move if by crossing the border you would lose your entitlements to pension or your entitlements to social security benefits. What if you going to another country to work, you would have to start accumulating your social security rights from scratch. So it is very important that this single legislation applicability principle is in place. The big question is, if you cross the border, which legislation applies? And we have few rules about it, also in the regulation on social security coordination. And the first rule is called legislacao, and it's a very logical rule. If you work in one country, you should be paying social security contributions there. This is the basic principle. Yes, but it is very important to avoid this principle in two cases. One case is when you work in another country only temporarily and for the employer who is running their normal activity in the sending member state. So if you're a posted worker, you should not change social security system unless your posting assignment exceeds 24 months. Really, after 2 years, it's time to change social security system. However, if your posting assignment is shorter than 24 months, you should remain subject of the legislation of the sending member state. That's the principle of single legislation in action. And also, this is the idea of really mobile workforce in the European Union. Because sometimes you do have workers that require to do their job correctly, they require to be in different member states in different moments. So sometimes the nature of the job requires a worker to travel around the European Union. The most obvious example is, of course, the truck driver in international transport. They are crossing borders between social security systems every day, sometimes even few times a day. Imagine a truck driver going from south of Germany through France, Luxembourg, Belgium to the Netherlands. They cross five, I think, social security systems. Where should they pay social security contribution? Well, for these highly mobile workers, and those are not only truck drivers, those are also workers who live and work in one country, but they have a part-time job in another country, and they commute to work. They change their place of work frequently. They are also international tourist guides who get on the coach with you, and they go through 2-3 different countries. Well, where is their place of work, you might ask? Where should they be insured if Lex Loci Laboris is applicable? Of course, if we applied Lex Loci Laboris principle to them, they would have to change their social security system every couple of days or every couple of hours. So, for them, we use the legal fiction and we pretend as if they were doing all their job in one member state. And here again comes the big question, which member state is going to be? Well, as a principle, this should be the member state of the country where they have their place of residence, where they live. Unless they do not perform substantial part of work in the country where they live. The substantial part of work is considered to be enough if it's 25% of your working time. So if you live in one country and work 25% there in that country, the legislation of that country will be applicable to you even if part of your work is done in other member states, in at least one other member state. If you, however, do not perform 25% of your working time in the country where you reside, there is another justification for the application of social security system, and that is the place of registration of registered office of your employer. So you should pay social security contributions and get social security benefits from the country where your employer has registered office or runs their activity. And this is also quite a stable criterion. It is very important for highly mobile workers, like truck drivers, like elevator servicemen, who go around Europe and repair elevators, to be subject to a single legislation. I even think that for highly mobile workers like this, it is even more important that they do not change their social security legislation too frequently. Stay tuned for more information on InfoRights channel about posting of workers and the rights of posted workers.